Hello and welcome to this week's edition of Toe to Toe, a podcast exclusive to SkySports.com. I'm Andy Scott, and joining me this week is former boxer turned promoter, aka The Knowledge, Spencer Fearon.
Listen, hello Andy. Now the next thing is this, right? It's not like joining me next week. You're joining me. You're joining me. You're standing in for... Let's get that right.
Yeah.
Right? That's all I'm saying. You are joining me. Know that part there.
It's a territory.
This seat is not no seat if I'm not here.
It's a boundary issue. It's territories. I understand.
That's right.
Right, well... Shut up. So much to discuss this week with the controversy surrounding the stoppage of George Groves still dominating the headlines. With Carl Froch on the canvas for only the second time in his career, did the IBF and WBA champion take George Groves too lightly?
You know, it's disappointing for me to get booed by the fans. There's only a small section of the fans, probably the Chelsea fans actually, because he's a big Chelsea fan, George Groves. I think they was upset by it because they obviously want their man to win and they wanted to be given a fair shot. But round 7 and 8, I was breaking him down, and round 9, I really got to him and I was starting to hurt him. And you know what I'm like, I mean, there's still round 9, the rest of round 9, 10, 11 and 12, I always finish strong. And George was blowing a little bit, he was starting to get caught, starting to get hurt, he was wobbling, his legs were gone, the referee held him up. So, you know, you can't argue with the decision, you really can't.
Given all the interest pre-fight, given the fight itself, given the controversy, if you like, of the stoppage, it would surely make financial sense to have a rematch. Would it make sense for you?
Well, you know me, I'll fight anybody. I don't need to give anybody a rematch. I don't need to say I'll fight him or I'll fight him. I'll fight anyone. I'll fight George Groves again. I think if he deserves a rematch, which he probably does, then I'm happy to give him a rematch. But that's not going to be my next fight. That's not my decision. I'm just saying I'm not going to not fight him. You know, he's a young kid coming through, unbeaten, and I've just beat him. Let's not forget I stopped him on the ropes in emphatic fashion and give the crowd an unbelievable night's entertainment and fight, and they loved it, and I'm sure the television viewers loved it as well at home. But does George Groves even want a rematch? You know, he may not want one. He may want to take a different route. But you know me, I'm happy to fight anybody.
So George Groves was obviously devastated and angry with the decision. Here's what he told Ed Robinson after the fight.
How did you keep your self-belief when everybody was doubting you?
Self-belief's down to yourself, basically. I sort of said earlier that 1 million people can think you'll win, but if you don't, then you won't win. 1 million people can think you won't win, but if you believe you'll win, you will find an answer. Me and Paddy and Harry and our little team, we believed, we knew. So in many ways it's easier when everyone's writing you off because you just concentrate on what you're doing. You don't get swept into the sort of the love, you know, people talking you up. I've had 2 big fights, one against James ago, one against Carl Froch. I've been the underdog in both. Both I feel I've put in good performances. On the first one, and tonight I was very unlucky. Definitely belong at world level. I think a lot of people will agree now. I plan to be going home tomorrow with 2 world titles, which I'm not. And I'm gutted about that, but I'll be back, I'll be fitter, I'll be stronger, I'll be better.
So where do we begin? Obviously, so much contention. Let's start with what Carl Froch said there, Spencer, that Howard Foster saved George Groves' career. Agree or disagree?
I disagree, but I can see where Carl Froch is coming from. How did you score the fight?
Well, because of the view that I had, it was difficult because I was behind the ring post. But at the time,
I was quite.
You were, yeah. I could see your suit from miles away.
Yeah, I know. And Darren Hampton had to be on one knee because all the seats were taken up.
At the time, I had the impression, I wasn't actually scoring it, but I was scoring it in my head. I had the impression that Froch was about 4 rounds down, so I had Groves ahead by about 4 rounds.
I had the fight 77, 74 in favour. I had Carl Froch only winning 3 rounds, and also and it's about right because the knockdown is going to count as a 10-8 round in the first round. But this is the next thing. What people don't understand is this. Number one is this. Everyone's complaining and saying, "Oh, Howard Foster Jr., the referee, is in Eddie Hearn's pocket." Hello, people. It's the promoter that pays the referee, and the promoter is only appointed to know who the referee is like a week before the fight I promote. So you know this is what happens. It's no different in world title fights. I think it's sad because everybody got robbed that night. George Groves got robbed of a victory if he could have survived being stopped. Carl Froch got robbed of a knockout because it looked like he was getting on top. And the British public, the boxing public, got robbed of seeing a great fight because there's too many intangibles. There has to be a return. Because whatever fights are going to be there for Carl Froch doesn't seem to I'll beat him and that's it. One thing you have to give Carl Froch, he's a very, very tough man. When he got knocked down with that right hand, and like I was saying last week, he could get hurt with that right hand because of where he carries his left hand.
He starts slow as well and he carries that left hand low.
He does.
So it's always dangerous early on with him. That was one thing about Kessler. He started fast and everyone was surprised, oh, this Carl Froch just started fast.
Yeah.
But in this one, can I pull you back round towards the scorecards? Because I do this with caution as well. 76, 75 on 2 scorecards.
Ridiculous. Now, there was no way that Carl Froch... So you're trying to say, all you're negating is the knockdown round that made a difference in the fight. Jules Groves was winning that fight convincingly, even though from round 8, from round 7 to going into round 9, things were kind of...
That was when Froch started coming a little bit stronger.
He was trying to maybe woke up a little bit for the knockdown, but we can't take away nothing from George Groves. George Groves should be given all the credit in the world.
All credit to George Groves.
You know the hurtful thing? The hurtful thing is this. And I know Carl Froch, and I do regard Carl Froch as a friend. He came across all wrong on the post-fight interview. When after the fight, you know what Carl should have done? He should have put his arm around George and say, "You are one tough son of a gun. When I've retired, you're going to be champion, but not right now." You know what I mean? It's not your day now. That's what he should have done. I mean, he should have given him all the credit in the world. I know it must have been taking him aback a bit, like the boos. Is the British public forgetting what Carl Froch has done for British boxing? Are we actually just saying, oh, well, it doesn't matter, we're only going to judge you on that performance? The guy's given us blood, sweat, tears for his last 11 world title fights. He's given us everything. With that I'm disappointed with it's nothing to do with that. Take it out on Howard Foster if you want to take it out. Don't take nothing out on Carl Froch. But
like you say, it wasn't him that made the decision.
He didn't make the decision. Yeah. You know what I mean? But George Groves should be given all the credit in the world because he surprised me. The way he boxed, the game plan that he administers, I'm going to hit you with 2 right hands. I'm saying, wait a minute. Now, if people who are studying the game, now I want you to know, because you're doing a bit of boxing now as well yourself, Andy, to throw one right hand, to throw one lead right hand, you're taking a liberty, right? But to throw 2 in succession and catch a guy... We look at the history, and on the train coming back, I was with my dear friend Spencer Oliver, and Spencer Oliver was saying, because Spencer said, oh, come here, Spence. So, you know what I mean? You have Big Spenny and Little Spenny, you know what I mean, right? And he was saying to me, Carl Froch has not fought nobody under the age of 30 since 2004. The only other person has been Andre Jarrell and Andre Ward, and both of those 2 fights, we wonder whether he, you know what I mean? He lost one of them, clearly, but... we wonder. So it's sad to see a great man like Carl Froch being demoralised by the press and by people saying, oh, well, this, that about him, because the guy's a great warrior. But all the credit in the world should be given to George Groves, man, because what a fight.
Do you agree with what he said there, George, that the reputation of being chinny counted against him and the reputation of Carl Froch for being a warrior and being able to take so much punishment meant that he was given more opportunity perhaps to recover than George was because people were looking to save him? Do you agree with that?
I do to an extent, but then you see, I say this all the time, if you believe in your belief, it becomes reality. He's saying that's what he's saying in his defence, but the kid got hurt against James DeGale, who's a classy puncher, but he's not a noted thudding puncher like Carl is. Carl Froch is a thudding puncher. And Carl Froch has proven in the past that he can weather storms. He showed that in the Jermaine Taylor fight. In the dying seconds, he just gritted it out and stopped him. So you have to look at those things and say, well then, what was Carl Froch's game plan? Your game plan was this, your game plan was, right, I'm going to weather this storm and watch what I'm going to do to you. And you can see he was always trying it. Always he was saying, watch what I'm going to do to you. But George just took the shots.
He took everything,
you know
didn't he?
And
took everything.
He was ragged, but he earned the right. And this is the thing. How far ahead he was on points and how well he administered his game plan, he earned the right to get knocked out, if that was going to be the case. And he earned the right to continue.
Because of what was at stake as well.
Because of what was at stake, he should have been given maybe 10 more seconds. But Howard Foster is not a dodgy person, Right, I'm telling you this now. So everyone say, oh, he's dodgy or no, that is just how he calls the fight. Now, it was an impulsive decision. Now, it was an impulsive decision that maybe wasn't the right decision at the time, but it's going to make a great rematch.
Yes, it will. I think we're already looking forward to it. Just on what one thing you said there, are you in that brigade of? There's a couple of ways you can look at it, but better one punch too early than one punch too late.
No, because you're a professional fighter.
And that's what you're paid to do.
And I don't think, and number one is this, I don't think when you're dealing with that kind of fitness of an athlete, we are not seeing that many tragedies in boxing right now because of the health and safety reasons behind it, and we're not seeing that many we haven't seen that many tragedies happen in this country because our medical team and how stringent our British border controllers, the British border controllers are the envy of the world. How stringent they are. Mm-hmm. And I know because when you're promoting, you do get harassed by the British border control, especially Helen at the British border control. But I love you dearly, right? But they are nuisances, right? But because they're so stringent. So I don't believe. One punch, he could have got damaged. No, you're a professional fighter. Do you know what I mean?
There's also some of the best fights we've had in the history. I know people say, oh, well, perhaps you could have given it 10 more seconds, but in that extra 10 seconds, Castillo-Corrales, if that would have been waved off.
Yeah, I know.
Do you know the point I'm making?
Right, exactly.
Gatti Ward, round 9. You never know what can happen in that extra 10 seconds.
And that's why I'm saying before, there's too many intangibles, man.
But Howard Foster, does he not deserve a little bit of the benefit of the doubt that he's closer than everybody in that arena? He must have seen something that made him want to jump in, or do you think that he just panicked and once he made the decision he made the wrong decision?
I have been in that position with Howard Foster in the past when Anthony Smalls boxed Bradley Price for the Commonwealth title at light middleweight, and Anthony got caught. And Howard Foster jumped in, and in hindsight now I'm looking and saying, should he stop the fight? I'm saying, well, he should have stopped the fight. You know what I mean? Because it made Anthony a better fighter in the long run. Now, this is going to make George Groves a better fighter, but I know it's going to make George Groves, because you know what George Groves is saying, right? Everybody wrote me off. Even myself, but I did say you were going to come Carl Froch and hurt him, but I didn't know that you were going to hurt him like that. You're taking this thing too far. You know what I mean? But he proved that he's world class. And he's proved, and I'm not saying, Carl Froch is long in the tooth. I don't believe that. You know what I mean? Because Carl Froch is a soldier. The guy got up, didn't wobble, got up, using his calf muscles. The man got up. He's still the Lords of the Ring guy, but George Groves has kind of taken your sword away. So I think maybe you should go collect back your sword.
Last point on this, and then we'll wrap it up. Let's talk rematch. Will it happen? If it does happen, who will win second time round?
You know what? Judging by the fight, if George Groves could administer that game plan that he administered, Carl Froch, unfortunately, has not changed his style of fighting. He's not like a Bernard Hopkins or, guys who you know what I mean, they adapt. There's not really been an adaptation to Carl Froch's fighting style. Is he too old to adapt? Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Carl Froch fought a gallant fight, and at the end of the day, he stopped the guy. Now, in a rematch, Carl Froch knows that I've got to jump on him straight away. And that's what he'd have to do. But I don't know who'd win that fight. I mean, seriously, my friend Ben Dowdy put it out on Facebook, who'd win, and you're getting loads of different people. Maybe Carl will just jump on him, maybe George Groves. That's why we need a rematch. We need Eddie Hearn. Get the rematch. We need it.